of pizza, you can decide how big you want those slices to be, no matter how big the pizza is, right? So if you're dealing with a bigger pizza, you might just have more slices. Does that make sense? So ultimately, share of stock is nothing more than a slice of a pizza. Some of the pieces, which is pretty much representative of the value of the company, some of the pieces are small, like personal pan pizzas. Some of them are gigantic, like extra super duper extra large pieces. But their slices can be the same because the bigger pieces may say, we only want our slices to be, 1 square inch. So that we're going to have just more slices than the person who has the small personal pan pizza. So ultimately, at the end of the day, when you're talking about why a company's value, why a company's stock price doesn't go above a certain amount, it's because the corporation makes a decision to say, let's keep our stock price at this size. Let's keep our pizza slices at this size. So if the company keeps growing, if the pizza gets super big, then, unless the stock price goes from 50 to 100 to 200 to 300 to 400, then what they do is a stock split. So they'll say, okay, this is one slice of pizza. We're going to chop each slice into 4 pieces so that we can go back to having small slices again. You understand? So, for example, it's like when I was talking to Jay today about, this whole investing thing and how, how much shares will cost. We could decide if we want shares to be $10, $100, $1,000, $2,000. Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, the company he runs, one of the things I see Craig says he's from Omaha, Nebraska. That's Warren Buffett is. Berkshire Hathaway, they tend to have shares of stock that are thousands of dollars. I forget how many thousands a share of stock in their company is now, but I think they do that sometimes because they want to have a certain clientele. Maybe just don't want everybody invested, right? So it kind of depends. Let's see. Somebody's asking if I'm ever gonna come back to Syracuse, because they say they're from Syracuse. I love Syracuse. I spent a lot of years there. I had some very good experiences there. Will I come back? I can't say I have a lot of reason to come to Syracuse because there's just not a lot happening in Syracuse. But every now and then I get invited back. When I was there for all those years, believe me, I was fighting with that university like cats and dogs. And just for the same reasons y'all fight with your own companies, the same same racism, same everything. And it's tough. It's very stressful, and that's why I'm a big advocate for getting off the corporate plantation, because racism will drive you insane. Racism, if you're not careful, racism can literally cause you to lose your mind. And in fact, you've seen examples recently of black people who've had tough confrontations with the police lately, and you can hear them in these confrontations, speaking in a way that is somehow reflective of of some sort of mental disturbance that they've accumulated as a result of constantly dealing with racism. So I would just say, be thoughtful about the environment that you're in. You don't have to be in any situation. Let's see. A child who has taken your courses, do you recommend that they take a fundamentals of economics class at high school? Would it be beneficial, or what other resources would you recommend to continue the education? And what's your view on selling other people's products? Very good question. Now, one program we do have for kids, we have 2 programs for kids that are very good. One is the Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program, which is at blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. That's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. So feel free to write that down so you can look into it for your children. It's a great program in terms of breaking down the fundamentals of wealth building. I designed it so that your child would not just be caught up with everybody else. They would actually be far, far ahead of the curve. They would actually have a financial literacy level. If they pass all the self-study exams, they will have a financial literacy level that exceeds the average college student. We also have another program which is an add-on to that called the Black Financial Leadership Program, and that's a 5-week kind of program where I'm actually going to teach your child online every Saturday with a co-teacher named Michaela Brown, who's a sales expert. And we also give the Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program for free to parents that sign their kids up for that program. So it has a little bit of a higher price, but you're actually getting $100 and something worth of free stuff already. So which chops down the price. Now, after the child finishes that program, should they take a fundamentals of economics class in high school? Sure. I mean, why not? I personally think, though, that when you're thinking about money and wealth and economics and everything else, it all kind of ties together, but you have economics here, which is very theoretical. Then you have finance, which is really nothing but applied economics. All finance is taking economics, economic theory, and making it more real, making it more concrete. And then you have things like, entrepreneurship and business ownership, which comes back to concepts like buy low, sell high, making investments, risk return trade-offs, etc. And so I would argue that that a lot of your child's education, in my opinion, should involve activity. One of the things that we do in this program I'm developing now, I'm almost done with it, the one on how to turn your child into a millionaire, is we talk about how to turn your house into not just its own Black Wall Street, but also how to turn it into your own university. And basically what that means is your child should have an environment and a culture that gives them many numerous opportunities to manage money, to understand how money works, to understand supply and demand, to understand how buy low, sell high, to understand entrepreneurship and business development, to just know how to create a job. Your child should never really go out into the economic system kind of thinking that the only way they can pay their bills is if they get a job. If they think that way, then that means that there's more work that you have to do. So and the thing is, you don't feel like you have to do it all by yourself. Don't feel like you have to be an entrepreneur yourself to teach your child this. Your children can sort of take the basic things you say to them, and they can build onto that when they get their own opportunities. Okay, so let me see here. The next question. Oh, Mercy Watkins. Are we related, Mercy? Let's see. Mercy says, I signed up for the leaders as well. Okay. So I think you're saying you signed up for the Black Leadership or Black Financial Leadership Program for children. If you did, then I look forward to teaching your child. I think your child's going to love it. It's a great program. Everything we do has money-back guarantees, too. So in case you're not sure or you don't think it's going to work, just know there's no risk to you. You can reach back and say, I'm not happy. I want my money back. And we give you your money back. All right, so let's see here. Jerry says, should we continue to trust HBCUs and local politicians? Do you think we should buy our local politicians? Well, most politicians are bought anyway. I mean, that's just real. I mean, politicians are run by money. You can't run for president of the United States unless you can raise $1 billion. That right there tells you that that most American people are cut off from the system. The Supreme Court, is an aristocracy. There was actually a study at some university. I can't remember. It was a University of Cambridge or somewhere where they pretty much said the United States claims it's a democracy, but it's not. It's actually an aristocracy. And so, this idea that we live in a democracy, you kind of have to let go of that. But I think also, so politicians are bought, yeah, so you should, if you can buy them, yeah, you should. I think that at the very least, Black people should accumulate enough wealth that we can kind of move the needle on issues that matter to us. Now, HBCUs, I don't think we should distrust HBCUs. I like HBCUs. I think that what we should do is see them for what they are. See them for what they are and not assume that they are what they're not. HBCUs are not these institutions that sort of allow for this sort of radically Black, sort of spiritual, economic, and social, political transformation that we might be seeking. They are part of the establishment. They have to, in many cases, beg for money because their overhead is so high. A lot of these universities call, Howard. I think it's almost $50,000 a year to go to Howard. Everybody can't afford that $50,000 a year. And somebody's saying I should teach at an HBCU. No, I wouldn't want to teach in one. I wouldn't want to be a president of one. None of that, unless I actually help build one. If I was one of the founders and we could really make it in an image that's really connected to the 21st century, then yes. But it would actually probably be a situation that would force me to have more power than I would have if I was, say, part of an institution that was pre-established. And the reason is because a lot of HBCUs die because the bureaucracy is just horrendous. You have people there that are thinking about self-interest as opposed to the public good. So I've seen HBCUs literally fall to their death because people came along and they were like, oh, no, this school's struggling. We want to give them money. And somebody would block the money from coming in because it would require them to change something that affected their comfort level. So sometimes I'm a little disgusted by what I see with HBCUs. I'll tell you just some dumb things I've seen HBCUs do. We were going to do an event at Howard University. And it was a day before Minister Farrakhan was doing his Million Man March in D.C. and a lot of people were coming out. I mean, I didn't know how many people were going to show up, but over 1,000 people, showed out, and people flew from as far as Amsterdam to be at this event. Farrakhan's sons came out, the media came out. That over 1,000 people were there, and as the day got closer, we had clearance. Somebody within the school had said, okay, y'all can come in. We've already filled out the paperwork. We're good. So we packed up and prepared and did everything. And what happened was they didn't know that I was able to pull this kind of an audience. I guess they thought I'd bring in 20 people or something like that. But I said, no, if I promote something, people going to come. And so we got there and they panicked. they basically panicked when they were like, oh my God, all these people are coming to our campus. They panicked, and you know what they did? 5 minutes before the event, they put a sign on the door saying the event has been canceled. So we got all these people, over 1,000 people, waiting outside. The building's empty. The space is available. They literally froze up like a deer in headlights, and instead of seeing this as an opportunity to market their school in a favorable way, they shut the door down. So then I'm messaging 200,000 or 300,000 people, and I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to get out there and be like, well, you know, it's due to unforeseen circumstances that I can't really go into, blah, blah, blah. No, I said, here's what happened. Howard University locked the damn door so we couldn't do our event. So I got people mad as hell, couldn't find parking, came from all over the world, came to this event, looking at this. So this is their chance to shine in our space, and they totally throw it away. And again, I just see that as like weird bureaucracy that evades common sense. To me, common sense would say, wow, okay, this guy has a platform where he can reach hundreds of thousands of African Americans every week. Maybe partnering him would be good for us. Maybe if he endorses us, people will send their kids to go to school here. But again, you know, bureaucracy and what's the word? I don't know. It's like this weird lack of creative thinking that we have as academics. I used to have this too. Academicians, unfortunately, we're like monks in a temple. Like the Ivy League is like our little temple where we get to operate in this space, this vacuum that's devoid from the real world influences. So we kind of sort of come up with our own little. It reminds me of that movie where the little kids took over the island and they established their own little weird rules because it was like a world full of kids. Like we're the same way. Like we have this world full of academics and we start doing things that are just stupid. They don't make any sense. And so, because really years ago, and I don't reach out to anybody to do this, but if I were a smart HBCU, I would say, hey, Dr. Watkins, why don't we partner together? And since you're reaching all these people, you know, we'll pay a little bit of money so you can tell people about our school and how great it is. I don't need those sorts of deals because we know how to make our own money, but that's what I would have done, right? But again, Lord of the Flies, that's it. Thank you, Kyron and Brendan. Lord of the Flies, that's what it was. It was like Lord of the Flies. Academicians are stupid. I mean, we're very intelligent. We're very educated. We read tons of books, but unfortunately, the creativity isn't always there in terms of our thinking. We're not big risk takers in terms of really trying to do big things and impactful things. And also, there's sort of this disincentive to interact with the real world. So, you know, I would personally love to see a redefinition of just what it means to be a black scholar in this country. Many black scholars have experienced what I call intellectual imperialization. I didn't come up with that term. Dr. Christopher Metzler at Georgetown used this term, and I really liked it. And basically, it's like we're sort of taught to believe that the way we're supposed to behave as scholars is the way white people tell us to behave. And white people behave a certain way because they have a certain type of luxury to behave that way because their institutions have hundreds of years of foundation behind them. So they're well established enough that you can sit back and sit in the ivory tower and do nothing for your people, you know, or whatever. Or you can go through life and never ever think about building an institution because you've already got enough institutions built. Black people don't have that. I think black people, you know, I think that black scholars have to be on the forefront, the front lines of all the important debates that happen in our community. We got to be out here. I'm not the only smart person with a PhD. There's a lot of smart people, but they damn cowards. They are scared of their own shadow. It was literally just infuriating for me. I was like, I got to get out of here. Y'all crazy. Okay, so anyway, let me jump back in here. All right, so let's see. I'm looking for another question. Hold on. Let me see here. By the way, if you hadn't signed up for the Black Wealth Bootcamp yet and you want to go, the URL is theblackwwealthbootcamp.com. I think Maria's letting in a couple more people, but at midnight I think she's shutting it down. Maria's the boss. She's the one who tells everybody what to do. Natalie says, do you ever come to Charlotte? Yes, Natalie, we are coming to Charlotte. Charlotte's beautiful. Lots of great black people doing amazing things. I'd love to be in Charlotte more often. Brendan, after the boot camp is finished, will those in the class have the ability to network? It would be disappointing if we're all isolated from each other the entire time. Actually, Brendan, we have a private Facebook group for boot camp members, and it is very active, and lots of people talking about lots of things and building businesses and doing amazing things. And we're actually going to get together physically at some point this year. We're actually trying to figure out how to have a Black Wealth Summit. We're going to bring everybody together. But also, don't forget we have that event in Atlanta the weekend of September 16th. We're calling calling it the All Black National Convention. That's going to be awesome, and that might be an opportunity as well for you to get a chance to kind of meet like-minded black people. I just think in general that there's just a benefit when we all get together, because I think we're kind of on the verge of doing some really big things, and I just think that we kind of have to gain that courage to do that. Let's see here. JR says, how is a sell-off of stocks not called a large buy? If stocks are selling, who is buying them? That's a good question, JR. Great question, man. Let me give you the solution. All right. Here's the thing. When they call it a sell-off, what they're basing it on is, and you're right, every seller must have a buyer, every buyer must have a seller. Absolutely. But there's a difference between transactions that occur where the price is going up, and there's versus a time when there's transactions occurring and the price is going down, down. A sell-off would be one where the prices are going down, down. Why? Well, because if you know in economics, you have the supply curve and the demand curve, and if the supply suddenly spikes up, then what happens is the price drops, right? So it doesn't mean that you can't find a buyer. Everybody, all the sellers could be jumping in to sell. But what will happen is you'll have an oversupply of sellers. You'll have an oversupply of the stock. So there'll be like 100 sellers and just 20 buyers. Well, those 100 sellers are going to have to compete to get those buyers, so the price will drop and drop and drop to the point where instead of having 10 buyers, you now got 20 and then 30 and then 40. You get more buyers because you're making the price more appealing for those buyers to step in. And what you're going to see, and the rule of the stock market is, a stock is only worth what people are willing to pay for it. And that's really the rule for any what they call efficient market, that your value is measured by the market. If the market does not give you what you're worth, then that means that you're not worth that thing, right? It's just like dating. Dating is a market. You have people that will say, I can't find somebody who appreciates me for what I am and gives me what I want, and I'm a fat dude and I weigh 400 pounds and I ain't got no job, and I'm 5 feet tall, but I can't find a beauty queen that wants to date me. I can't find a former Miss America that'll be my wife or be my girlfriend. Well, that's probably because you're not sort of being consistent with the market. The market is telling you that you're not that kind of a commodity. You can't catch that woman that you think you deserve because you're out of sync with the market. The market sees you at a level 2 and you see yourself at a level 9. Or like the job market. I may say, well, hey, I've been looking all over for jobs. Well, when then somebody says, well, why can't you take one of the jobs that's been offered to you? You say, well, I don't know. I mean, I got my GED, and I'm willing to work 10 hours a week. And so I don't know why nobody will pay me $400,000 a year. It's unfair. Well, the reason that it seems unfair is because I'm out of sync with the market. The market's not offering me $400,000 a year because I'm not worth $400,000 a year. Now, if I were Will Smith and I wanted to work 10 hours a week, I could probably make $40 million a year working 10 hours a week, because Will Smith has a certain market demand that most of us don't have. So the market is an interesting thing. So in the stock market, it's the same thing. Stocks tend to sell for whatever the market says that the stocks are worth. Whatever you can find a buyer to buy the stock from you from at that price, that becomes the new market price. The market just is what it is. Let's see here. Matthew says, what does Boyce Watkins read or refer to maintain mental balance? Am I balanced? I don't even know if I'm balanced half the time. I think sometimes I feel like I'm just sort of rushing. Like I feel like every day in my mind I'm calculating the number of days until we're dead and gone, right? So maybe I'm not balanced, but I push myself because I love what I do, and I want to make an impact, and I want to do it for real. I want to do it right. And so some of the things that keep me focused are just very basic things, basic ideas about time management. I manage my time like it's money. If I'm sitting on the phone with you, it's usually not because I ain't got nothing to do. You will never, ever in a million years see me and say, what are you doing? Or what you got going on? And have me tell you nothing. People are like, what you doing? Nothing. I don't do that. I tell my daughters that. I'm like, no. When I ask you, what are you doing? You need to be able to either tell me what you just finished doing, what you're currently doing, or what you're about to do. Your time is the most valuable asset that you have, so you manage your time like it's money. We actually have a class on that if you're interested, where I lay out all my philosophies on time management, goal setting, overcoming obstacles, dealing with haters, dealing with everything. It's about 100 and some hours of content. It's actually called Black Keys to Greatness. You can go to blackkeystogreatness.com if you want to take a look. And at blackkeystogreatness.com, you can get the first month free. And basically, it's so you can try it out and see if you like it. And basically, that's what it is. It's literally a brain dump where I literally break down every philosophy I have on how I'm able to remain productive. And I think I'm pretty good at that, because when I was in grad school, I didn't know this, but I was actually called the machine by my friends. The white boys used to call me the machine because I used to just work so consistently. I used to do 10, 12 hours a day of consistent work. I'm big on goal setting. And so do I get all that from any particular reference, any particular book? No, but I do believe deeply in sort of leaning on stories of people that inspire you as a way to gain the spiritual fuel to move forward. Everything that you do is a spiritual journey. I don't care if it's an intellectual endeavor or financial or anything. It's all spiritual. I mean, if your spirit ain't there, then you can't do it. If you don't believe in yourself, if you don't love yourself, if you don't feel compelled and empowered to move forward, then you're not going to be able to do anything. So for me to be able to do the things I do now really started with me stopping and saying, you know what? I'm a black man, and it's okay for me to be who I am, and I'm going to be the best version of myself that I can be. That way I don't have to lie to y'all about who I am. I get to be who I am and be okay with that. And really, you'll never be better at being anybody than being yourself. But a lot of us go through life and we spend all that time lying because we're worried about what other people think. So I'm not a fan of that. Let's see here. So moving on. Let me see here. Okay, I'm going to let's grab a few more questions, and then we'll roll on out of here, guys. So by the way, if you want to join the Black Wealth Bootcamp, check out the blackwealthbootcamp.com. I think you're going to like it. Let's see. Carlos wants to know, can someone build wealth using bonds, or is the growth rate just too low? Yeah, you can build wealth with bonds. I mean, I wouldn't just only invest in bonds, though. I mean, the key to investing is you want to diversify, because you really don't know exactly what any particular sector is going to do, right? So if you buy stocks, you buy a bunch of stocks. Then you flip over and you buy some bonds, and then you buy some international stuff, and you buy some gold, and you buy some real estate. You start some businesses. I own principally about 4 businesses, and what I find is that the diversification is what saves me, because sometimes I'll have times where one business is getting its butt kicked for about 3 or 4 months, but another business will come through and provide the money that allows us to maintain stability, like in our revenue streams. So I definitely recommend diversifying. Let's see. Savannah was asking, are ETFs? She says EFTs. I think she means ETFs. Are they a good investment? ETFs are exchange traded funds, and what they are basically these funds that on one level or another kind of mimic the stock market. They mimic the stock exchange. So you can literally buy the fund, and what they do is they give you natural diversification. It's like a mutual fund. A mutual fund is like, it's like, imagine if you're eating food and I say, okay, you're going to get green beans and potato salad and mashed potatoes and steak and chocolate cake, right? So you got 5 or 6 things that you're going to eat because you want a balanced meal. You want to eat everything. You don't want to just eat one thing or the other. Well, what if I just gave you like a pill and said, there's a little bit of mashed potatoes in it, the vitamins from it. There's a little bit of green. It sounds nasty, right? It's not as much fun as, right? But bear with me, right? And it has a little bit of everything in it. You could just take this pill. Or it's like a dish, a candy bar or something you could eat that has a little bit of everything in it. That's kind of what an exchange-traded fund is, or a mutual fund is. It's diversification like in a box. It kind of allows you're pooling your money with a bunch of other people's money, and the money spread out. And all the different stocks are mixed together, almost like soup. Like soup with different kinds of soups mixed together. Well, the same thing is true, with an exchange-traded fund or with a mutual fund. And that's a good thing, because that's what you kind of want. You want diversification. No matter what you do, you always have to diversify. It's very important. Let's see here. Malik says, I'd like to have lunch with you and Dr. Claude Anderson when you come to D.C. Good luck, man. Dr. Anderson is so busy. He talks to me, and I love him. He's like a grandfather for me, but I don't think he talks to a lot of people. But we are going to do an event in D.C. pretty soon, so you should come to the event. I think you're going to love it. Let's see here. Mercy says, I've been taking care of my brother who's released from prison multiple times and would be homeless otherwise. Can I claim him on my taxes if he's staying in one of my empty apartments with heat, etc.? Got some work to do to rehab it. Yeah, well, the thing about claiming somebody on taxes is that only one person can do it. So if he allowed you to do it, then, then yeah, you can. And I guess you'd have to just talk to him about it. And I mean, since you're paying his rent, I can't imagine why he would resist to that. I would also encourage him, anybody I know who's been to prison, I just say, learn how to be an entrepreneur. Like while you're in jail, read books about entrepreneurship. And then when you get out, really become an entrepreneur, because I don't really think that guys that get out of prison really have that many good job opportunities. It's kind of horrible for them. The way they're being treated is absolutely despicable. It's not going to change anytime soon. What their goal is basically to eliminate and annihilate you from the economic and political and educational systems and social systems for the rest of your life. So going to prison is not a temporary sentence. It is a life sentence, especially for black people. I see somebody asking about Forex, foreign exchange. I think, buying into foreign currencies is fine. For some reason, I've seen this spike in people doing Forex, which is just interesting. I don't know where that's coming from. But, I think foreign exchange, foreign currencies, as part of a broad investment strategy. Remember, diversification, diversification, diversification. So if you want to ask me, should you invest in a certain thing? My answer is always yes. Yeah, invest in this, invest in this, invest in this, invest in this. Spread your money out. That's the goal. Don't look for get-rich-quick stuff. Don't look for sort of investing in just one thing so that you can get all the, pile up all your money. Because people that used to invest, y'all remember a company called Enron back in the early 2000s? Enron was like the winning stock. Everybody was proud to be a part of Enron. And Enron ended up going bankrupt, and those people lost everything. So, you may have your money in one space and think you're just, you're doing well because you're getting so much income from that. But you got to think about the first step in wealth building. The first step is to build the wealth. The next step is to protect the wealth. And so if you're not diversified, you're not protecting your wealth. You're leaving yourself vulnerable. So eventually when you become a diversified investor, maybe if you have different businesses and different income streams, you should ask yourself, what would happen to me if my greatest income stream disappeared tomorrow? Like, would I be able to recover? What would I do? And if the answer is, oh my God, I would panic, I'd probably flip out and die, then that probably means you need to go ahead and make some adjustments in your financial situation. Now, before I go, I want you guys to write down a couple of URLs in case you're interested. If you want to sign up for the Black Wealth Bootcamp, we got like 3 more hours left that you can sign up. Then Maria's shutting it all down. You can go to theblackwealthbootcamp.com. That's theblackwealthbootcamp.com. If you want to sign your child up for the Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program for children, you can sign them up at blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. That's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. We also have the other child program for kids, blackfinancialleadership.com. That's blackfinancialleadership.com. That has a higher price point. That's the one that I teach directly. Black Millionaires of Tomorrow has a bunch of recorded content as well as self-study exams, so you can work your child through it and maybe elevate them to something else later on. But put them in something. Even if you don't do our program, do something. Do something. The next thing I wanted to mention to you guys is also if you're interested in that class on goal setting and motivation and overcoming obstacles, that class is at blackkeystogreatness.com. That's blackkeystogreatness.com. And the last thing I should tell you guys about, because somebody asked about it, is if you want to ask me questions and guarantee to get an answer about your business, about finance, about anything, go to askdrboyce.com. That's askdrboyce.com. Everything that we do has the first month free, so you can go in there and try it out, and so it doesn't cost you anything. You don't get billed to the second month. And also the cool thing about AskDrBoyce.com is that all the questions I've answered from other people are there. So there's literally dozens and dozens and dozens of videos with all kinds of information on all different kinds of topics that can benefit you as you learn your way through financial literacy. Financial literacy is a must. Economic empowerment must be one of the religions in your household. After you take your babies to church, you take them to economic church, because this is going to be critical for their survival. And when they become adults, you do not want to raise economic victims. The only way you can raise an economic victim is if you are reactive instead of proactive, which means you did not prepare your child to compete in a world that is built on global economic warfare. Money is used by the U.S. government and by wealthy people to control people on a regular basis. If you don't understand how that works, then you will find yourself manipulated, you'll find yourself very frustrated, and your children will be frustrated, and there'll be nothing they can do about it. But if you're proactive and you raise financially literate children, you raise financially responsible children, you raise financially capable children, then your kids will be able to sort of spot the environment, figure it all out, and they'll be the ones leading other black people to the promised land. And don't forget this point too, and I have to make sure I remind you of this. Don't just raise kids that become wealthy people. Raise them to be wealthy people who have a sense of social responsibility and a responsibility for their community. Wealthy Negroes don't do nothing for nobody but themselves unless they care about their own people. So we don't need more wealthy black people. We need wealthy black people who care about other black people. Right now we got a whole lot of celebrities and millionaires and corporate Negroes that care nothing about black people at all, because they've been sort of raised to believe that coonery, or that giving into this white supremacist system, is the way that they can survive and take care of themselves. And I would argue that if you take care of your people, you can still do okay. You can still drive the Bugatti or whatever it is you want to do, but you can get the benefit of knowing that other people have been able to improve their situation because of your success. You also get to know that your success will live long after you're gone, because that job that you have, no matter how long you have that job, they're going to replace you when you're dead. They're not going to pass that to your kids. Your kids will get nothing from that. The company will get something. The company's going to live forever, but you're going to be gone. So just keep that in mind. Write those URLs down. I hope you guys will check out one of the programs. We're taking this money that's going to the Black Business School and we're putting it toward big projects. And I'm really excited. The stuff that we're going to do over the next year or two, I think it's going to be monumental. At least the goal. The goal is to do things that will be absolutely, positively earth-shattering, positive, impactful, courageous, and just stunning in every way. And you will be involved in this. Jay Morris and I made a plan today, and when we release this plan, it's gonna set the earth on a different axis. I guarantee you that much. So you guys take care, and I love you, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. And I hope you have a good night. And I'm about to go somewhere and drink some coffee because I think I'm losing my voice. Talk to you guys soon. Take care. Peace.